Holy shit, we are live. Bing bong, bing bong, bing bong. Let's just test my audio levels aren't too low. They're fine, I think. If they aren't fine, then turn up your TV or whatever the fuck you're watching this on, I guess. We got our desktop audio on. Hopefully the cars aren't too loud. They do be going burr. That is a thing that they like to do. But it seems like they are not going burr too loudly right now. Who knows? That's probably about right, if it isn't. Oh well. Bacon says it's all good anyway, so if it isn't, then it's not my fault. Anyway, let's get everything sorted out. Don't know who this guy is. Also, I'm using my PlayStation controller, as per usual. Not sure exactly why the game thinks it's an Xbox controller, but we like to mix it up. Fucking hell, it's not too loud on the stream, but it's too loud in my ears. Let's turn that headset down a bit. We don't want the telemetry on. Let's have the lap data though, we want to see that. We'll see the full track map, even though the yellows will just be people getting out of the way. They might actually be crashes actually, because Dace is in the lobby. The gap will be to the fastest lap. Osmanian Devil set a purple sector one time, though that may be the first sector one time that has actually been set so far. Lusky setting the fastest lap so far, also known as the first lap, though it's a 105, and I think he can probably do a little bit better than that. Lanzi with a 105.1. Not a bad time there by the Dutchman, though I'm sure he could probably get a little bit quicker than that. The Osmanian Devil crosses the line in P4. Bacon through the final corner. Crossing the line to start his lap. Get paid. What about No Job? Seems to be on a hot lap as that ERS is depleting, but he is invalid. Hightower on medium tyres, though he set the purple first sector, supposedly. Dace setting our provisional pole time there, 105.082. Almost under the 105s and into the 104s, but not quite. So yellow flags there as the Red Bull gets out of the way nicely. Hightower really pushing the track limits there on the entry, but not going over the mark. Through the final corner he goes. And across the line to set a 1 minute 6.6. Not a bad time on medium tyres. Where's DC Manaman? He's coming out onto the track to start his outlap. Here's Impossible Bacon on his flying lap as he sets a 106.5. Do I have any friends in the chat? Probably not, as is my sorry existence. No Jog is pulling into the pits, Beamer Blunt is in the pits, Osmania Devil is as well. Hightower is on an in-lap and Bacon is doing the same. So not much going on right now, a little bit of a lull in proceedings here, but that is sure to change. The fish helmet there from DC Manaman. Very Dace-like of him. No rain expected for qualifying or for the race, unfortunately. Or fortunately, depending on which way you look at it. Sure, some drivers might be happy about that, others maybe not so happy. But we shall see. DC Manaman finally on a hot lap now. I'm just getting a few things set up. Sorry about the subpar commentary. Just brought me in off the streets and threw a microphone at me. So through Sector 2 goes DC, man, and into Sector 3. Through the final corner he goes. That did look rather quick, but that might have been the fact that he was in an F1 car as he crosses the line. 105.1, only a tenth of a second off base. One thing to consider here, as we saw DC Manaman set the fastest third sector. One thing to consider here is the fact that the track is a pretty short track, especially in terms of lap time. Which means a gap like 1/10 is bigger than it would be on a track like Spa, for example, that's a very long track. As of course 1/10 as a percentage of the overall lap time is much greater than it would be on a track with a longer duration of lap. Coleslaw in Sector 1, crossing the timing line to enter Sector 2, braking for the right-hander. Let's see if he gets the rotation in that Williams. Still in fourth gear, didn't look overwhelmingly quick, but didn't look bad, and he sets back off down the straight into the tight right-hand hairpin. Taken nicely there by Der Kraut Salat. Straddling the curbs on the exit, taking as much speed through as he can. He's 5/10 up on his time, which is a very good lap time actually. So far that's going to put him in amongst it around sort of P4. If he can keep that up, he probably could have gone a little bit quicker through there. Leaves himself a little bit of time on the table there as well as he passes the Alpine, crosses the line. Does improve to 105.492, but it's not quite enough. He needed an extra couple of tenths there to really jump up the order. Gets easily out of the way of the Alpine there of Lusky. Nope, not Lusky, the other Alpine, which I don't think was pushing, which would be Osmanian Devil. But here is Lusky, and I don't believe he's on an outlap, and I hope he's not on an inlap. Let's see what he can do. I think he probably is on an inlap actually. Oh, he's invalidated his lap time anyway. Here's Osmanian Devil. He's 3/10 off, so 3 seconds off, sorry, so he's not pushing. Beamer Blunt, however, he has fueled the car right the way up. 4 laps of fuel there for Beamer Blunt, so not getting every second out of it that he can, but here's No Jug starting his flying lap, which is why we're going to pay attention to him. Using plenty of curbing on the left hand side to really open up that corner, and then over the curbs on the left hand side on the exit as well. DRS wide open as he approaches turn 3, which you would think is turn 2, but it isn't, because turn 2 is that little kink in the straight. Rather foolishly, I might add. And that is the DRS wide open now for No Jug. Again, all over the curbing, tyres on the white line. And off he goes towards the horseshoe. See how much curb does he take on the right side. That looked very quick indeed, though I still think it would be a little bit more time on the table because it's No Jug, but that exit there was perfect. We've seen a few drivers invalidating on that, such as Lusky, but no such error there from No Jug. Through the final corner he goes, well, keeping it within the lines. DRS wide open on the way up to the line. 104.5. That's really thrown the gauntlet down to Dace, who is currently up on his time, but I don't think he's going to be up on his time by almost by anywhere near enough. Through the final corner he goes, pushing that Mercedes to the limit. DRS wide open on the run up to the line. Is it going to be below 1:05? It is. It's a 1:04.7. Still though, 2/10 off of No Jug, who looks impervious as ever. Now, A-Dub is on a slow lap as well. Now I believe if I hit number 3 on my keyboard, it takes me to the calendar, and I want the standings, so I'm going to hit 2. Now, the hope is that just flashed up on the screen. I turned the latency down in my stream settings, you see, so that there's less of a delay, which I think was rather wise of me, because now I can see this instantly, and I can see that I did in fact hit the correct keybind on my keyboard, which is always great to see. Now, you may be surprised to see, we did miss 2 races here of commentary for holiday-related reasons. However, we're back now for the rest of the season, hopefully, and there's been a change at the top of the standings. No Jug decided to have a couple weeks off because I guess it was getting too easy for him, and Dace took almost completely full advantage of that opportunity by grabbing himself a first in Monaco and a second in Canada, with Lightwork picking up the win in Canada. And as I say, that Lightwork has joined the lobby, so that is an extra car on the grid for the race, which is brilliant to see. Yep, Dace with 94 points, No Jug 1 point behind with 93. So if Dace has had his, he's been let off for the poor start to the season by No Jug missing those 2 races after a hat-trick of wins in the first 3 rounds. This is his chance now, but don't forget, you'll never believe this, who's in P3. Dusty Lusky. It's a little bit sneaky. He's up there in P3 on 93 points, the same as No Jug. Currently down in P6 in this qualifying session, though it's certainly not reached its conclusion yet. But Dusty's someone to keep an eye on, not someone you'd expect to win the championship, but he's there. Just you got to pay him his dues. Back to the action we go, and by the action I mean watching Hightower being rolled into the pits. That's what you all tuned in for. DC Manaman crosses the line up to P3, only 4/100ths of a second off of Dace's time. As you see now on the timing board right at the bottom there in P12, there is NFS Lightwork. Osmanian Devil now on the track. Not entirely sure if he is on a push lap. We will soon find out. I mean, you just got to take a second to admire how freaking good this game looks. I think I say it every time, honestly. But it's because it catches me off guard every single time. It is so good. They, say what you want, they got one thing right. Now Lanzi, can he get something right through the final 2 corners? And by something, I mean going fast. Nope, he pulls into the pits. Dusty only 1/100th off of his best time so far. Though he needs to pull out a 10.5 if he wants to jump himself ahead of Lanzi. And that's supposedly a purple middle sector there from Lusky. He's all the way up to like 0.2 improvement on his hot lap just from those corners in the middle sector. So he's done really well there. He uses plenty of curb on the exit as well. Osmanian Devil has retired from the session, but I believe that is in the pits. Dusty crosses the line. And he's thrown away about 0.2 of lap time in the final couple of corners there. And he hardly even improved, certainly not enough to jump up any positions. No Jug on an out lap. He wants to find himself a pocket without as much traffic, and I think he's managed to accomplish that. There will be the Red Bull of Coleslaw ahead, who I'm sure will get nicely out of the way, but No Jug not interested in setting a hot lap this time around. He's going to do another lap, possibly trying to burn as much fuel as he can to get that car nice and light for when he does start his hot lap, when there's going to be peak grip at the end of the session. Lusky is out of fuel, so he will not be setting a hot lap just now. He's going to have to pit, and he should have time actually. At most tracks, no chance. Here in Austria, he might pull that off. Coleslaw has improved upon his time, so far at least. as he hurtles his way through the second sector. Through the horseshoe he goes as he crosses the timing split, and we see that he's now actually slightly slower than his best lap times. Here comes Dace. 3/10 up on his time. If he can carry this advantage through the lap... Oh, it now says it's +4. I don't know what this game is on about. Dace has actually backed off. So he won't be setting a lap time this time around. But here comes NLR No Jug. Through the final corner, opens the DRS to start his hot lap. As we see a retirement there by Lusky, he will take no further part in this qualifying session. Neither will Adub, who retired prior. And oh no! There goes NLR No Hose! He's off into the barrier, and that's going to stop him from setting another lap time. This is Dace's opportunity now. 1:04.7, he needs to find a couple of tenths now on this lap. This is his chance. What can he do? DRS wide open as he approaches the first turn. Of course, track evolution is going to be a factor as well, as the track will have more grip than when he set that last time. I can't believe what I've just seen from NLR No Battle though. No front wing on NLR No Wings car. Yes, I have only just noticed that I can make plays on words with that name, and yes, I am going to absolutely ruin it. Talking about absolutely ruining, can Dace absolutely ruin his chances of starting on pole? I had to hold back a smirk for that one. That was a good transition. I like that one as through the horseshoe he goes. Plenty of curb on the exit. He's 700ths off on his time, but that's not going to be enough. He needs to find some time through the third sector. Cuts that mighty fine on the right hand side there, but he does get away with it. Most importantly, through the final corner, it all comes down to this. I say the final corner, it's the penultimate corner, because here's the final corner. Fighting a little bit of oversteer as he comes through the corner, crosses the line at 1:04.745. Only manages to eke a couple hundredths out of the time. And NLR No Jug faces NLR no consequences for his mistake. Where's DC Manaman? Oh, he's in second. That's where he is. Boom. Lanzi crosses the line. Can he improve? Can he beat Adub? Yes, he can. A 1:04.9 joins the 1:04 club with 1:04 drivers. Ayo. Light work. Light work falls victim to the very first of the evening. He's going to start off in P12. So here are your final qualifying standings. We have an NLR No Jug on pole, giving us NLR no surprises. DC Manaman P2 puts himself ahead of Dace, who he's not going to like that. Lanzi, the Dutchman, starting in P4 with Adub just behind him. Traction control going burr enough for P5 for the Ferrari man. Lusky P6 with Sharia Coleslaw just behind him in P7. Then Lusky's fellow Canadian Hightower in P8 with Osmanian Devil just behind him. Then it's going to be Bacon rounding out the top 10 with Beamer Blunt P11 and Lightwork without a actual hot lap time, just an out lap time in P12 for Williams. Just give me 1 second here. Let's move my drink out of the way. Suppose I better talk. So, here we are. You're familiar with this by now if you've been tuning in to any broadcast of any F1 event ever. We have to sit here, chill, and look at T-posing mechanics. But that's all good. We like the T-pose, the triple T-pose, of course. It's 3 mechanics all blended into one. T-posing. Weather not looking great out there. It looks kind of like England for 10 months of the year, but rain is not going to be a factor, apparently, according to Lanzi, if we trust Lanzi, or Mr. Orlando Magic. And yeah, this is the journey. I've done a terrible job of keeping you entertained through this little portion. I must apologise. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say really. I'm more just hoping that waiting for players in the top left hand corner turns to a timer somewhere on the screen, and there it is. It's in the top middle because, you know, that's where it always appears. But we move. I wonder if DHL sponsor the pit lane. Aramco too, maybe. Just a superstition, just a hunch. They sponsor the Bulls lane. And here we go, 3, 2, 1. I bet this little interlude wasn't boring at all. Fuck it, sound effect. To the formation lap we go. I know, I've got a couple. I say a couple. I've got about 20 new sound effects on here. This exceeds a couple by about 18. Should we have a look through the ones that I can't spoil for you, because there's some that I'm not going to spoil. You don't have to wait for the moment. But let's have a look. We've got a bit of me whenever I watch Dace. I like that one. What else do we have? That's a pretty good one. That's pretty good as well. We like that one. We've got one. If you ever want to prank your fellow Discord call fellows. You think someone's joined, but they haven't.
Bing Chilin!
Bing Chilin! I like that one. Is that everything that we've got that I can't show? There's a few in here that I kind of forgot what their purpose was, and so I don't want to just drop them. That is no one during this broadcast because it is thoroughly entertaining. Okay. Damn, 3 people. 3 people watching. One of them is me. But here we go. It's 5 red lights as the leaderboard has a fit. And it's lights out and away we go. Dace gets a really good start there behind No Jug. He might look to try and make a move into turn 1. He goes to the inside. No Jug's going to be on the outside. Will he be able to sweep cleanly around the outside and avoid any sort of issues? Dace had to back out a little bit there. He's lost some time, and Lusky's up into P3. Whereas Zelanzi had to go off track there. He was forced wide. We've got DC Manaman and A-Dub side by side as we approach turn 3. DC Manaman going down the inside there on Sharia Coleslaw and making the move on A-Dub Stick. Impossible Bacon gets his way past Osmanian Devil, that was. I can read, I promise. Down the inside goes A-Dub there, makes one hell of a move. We sort of saw it there in the background. There's so much that occurs on the first lap, it's hard to keep track of. What's Lightwork doing? He wants to make a move on Osmanian Devil. Will he look to go down the inside here? That's a little bit ambitious. He's going to do it anyway. He makes light work of that overtake. I'm wondering, perhaps does Osmanian Devil have some wing damage? Who knows? What's Dace doing? He's keeping No Jug honest here. Now, Austria. The DRS in Austria is pretty powerful because you say there's not that many corners and there is that many straights. 3 DRS zones here, of course. Let's have a look at what tyres everybody's on. So the top 3 all on the mediums. Lanzi going long on the hards. And Impossible Bacon looking to make some quick progress on the softs. Never mind. Never mind. That's not how you make quick progress. That's a commentator's curse. No Jug setting a purple sector 1. Dace needs to really push here to keep up with him. We can't let him escape the DRS. Husky in P3 watches on as he does what he usually does, and that is just to be Mr. Consistent, not get into any difficulties, keep up a decent pace, and just pop up on the podium at the end of the race after not appearing once in the last 10 laps. Beamer Blunt is pretty close to the back of Osmanian Devil, but not looking to make a move just yet, or maybe he is. Osmanian Devil maybe went a little bit wide there, so I am starting to think that maybe Osmanian Devil does have some damage because he is dropping like a stone. It's not really reflecting his qualifying pace, especially when he's on the mediums and Beamer Blunt behind is on the hards. No Jug setting the fastest lap of the race so far, as you would expect on lap 2. DRS now enabled though, as we have gotten onto lap 3, and Dace has it on the run up to turn 3. So not enough laps there for No Jug to be able to break the DRS, as DC Manaman and A-Dub are battling once again. Can A-Dub look to make a move around the outside here maybe of DC Manaman, or will he choose the inside perhaps? Will he not make a move at all? It turns out to be the latter. Hightower still pretty close to Beamer Blunt as well. Dusty struggling to keep within that 1 second of Dace, who I'm sure is pushing like a fish out of hell. And talking about pushing, Husky's been pushing the ERS button down quite a lot. He's struggling on his ERS, but he's doing it again. He wants to stay within the DRS. Sorry about that. Dace still with the DRS though on No Jug. I'm going to have to adjust the audio levels ever so slightly, guys. I apologise about that, but you might want to turn the stream up a little bit. Dace closing in on No Jug as they approach turn 3. Dace all over the back of No Jug through the horseshoe. Big snap there of oversteer. But he's keeping No Jug honest, he's keeping the pressure on, and this is what he needs to do. We've seen No Jug does have the capacity to make some mistakes, especially when the pressure's on him. He did it in the pre-season race in Silverstone, and he did it on his hot lap as he runs wide there. Osmanian Devil is off as well, not great for him, but he's going to get it moving again. The ERS about the same, No Jug with slightly more than Dace, but Dace is all over the back of him here with the DRS. And this is the issue if you're in P1. The car behind with the DRS, that DRS is so powerful, you can sit behind, you can save up your ERS, you can save your tyres, you can vibe, and make up that deficit that you get from going a little bit slower and more conservative. Something is happening. I do apologise really quickly. Holy hell, okay, that's a thing. Anyway, Dace still keeping it close to No Jug. Apologise about that. Really quickly. Yeah, sector 3 and 2 we have yellow flags. That's because Impossible Bacon's had a little trip through the gravel. Not having a great race, Bacon, but anything can happen if a safety car were to get called out. Lusky's fallen off the back of this battle, and Lanzi's looking rather interested on the back of him in P4, maybe looking to take away a podium. He's in the better spot here, you've got to admit, especially on those hard tyres that are going to have more longevity. But Dace is still close to Nojug. Behind them, Lanzi keeping close to Lusky. Lanzi looking to make a move here, I think, over the next few. And oh my goodness me, that's big. That's Nojug getting a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings on track limits. We did see him run wide out of this final corner here a few laps ago, but I must have missed the others. That will be music to the ears of Dace, who might be able to capitalise on this if he can just keep it close and not pick up any warnings of his own. That is, however, a big ask. Lanzi still all over the back of Lusky. Well, not really, but kind of. Under braking, he gets himself a little bit closer as well. Nojug really feeling the pressure though from Dace, who is actually having to burn quite a lot of ERS to keep with Nojug, but Nojug isn't burning that much less than him. Lusky still just vibing. What's going down here in this little pack? Anything? It's all pretty spread out as we get to the midfield and further back. Sharia Coleslaw not a million miles away off of Lightwork, but you've got to imagine Lightwork will have slightly stronger pace, as he is one of the quicker drivers in the field, though the P7 position may not convey that effectively. Dace picks up a 3-second time penalty and equalises it up front. That's the one thing he needed to not do. Now he's basically let Nojug off, and our NLR no consequences returns for the second session in a row. DC Manaman has A-Dub just behind him, but not close enough behind him to be a threat. Similar here with Lanzi and Dusty, as Dusty Lusky is pretty comfortable through the hairpin, doesn't have to worry too much about the Red Bull behind him right at this point in time. Dace getting really close to the back of Nojug though, who's gone a little bit wide. Dace will have gained a little bit of time there, and Dace will have the DRS for the next 2 straights as well. Nojug may be struggling a little bit with grip actually, because he washed out wide. It's only slightly offline, but you can see it. And Nojug is going to find himself under pressure here if he's not careful. Down this next straight, Dace is right behind him. Dace with the DRS wide open as well. It's just not going to be enough. Nojug gets too good of an exit out of that first corner, it would seem, as Dace gets really close to the back of him there. Narrowly avoids hitting into him. That should lose him some time, you would imagine, though he has the DRS to then recuperate that. But I don't think he's going to be able to look at making a move on Nojug unless it's a send, which I don't think will happen. Same here with Lanzi and Lusky, he's too far behind. Lightwork, A-Dub, DC Manaman, this fight brewing in the midfield. So Lightwork certainly looks to make up some positions on A-Dub and on DC Manaman. He wants to get himself much further up the field, of course having to start last, joining late into the session. Now, is Dace going to be close enough this time around? Let's follow along. Just Nojug gets a slightly better exit out of that final corner, though Dace might have an opportunity if he can nail turn 1. Closer than he was. Needs to tuck into the slipstream. Here he goes on the run up. Does he go for the inside? Does he go for the outside? He goes for the outside. Makes sure that he gets the DRS. And here he goes with the DRS, with the slipstream, with the DRS. Is it going to be enough? I don't think it will be. He might have already had his chance, though, unless he sends it. He doesn't send it. And behind we've got a similar situation unfolding as Lanzi's just not quite close enough to Lusky, but this was a lot closer from Dace, and he's going to be a lot closer through this next sequence of corners and at the start of the next lap, unless any calamities occur for the fish. Light work still less than half a second off of A-Dub. And no, no, no! 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 Dace! Oh, it's gotten to the point where it almost isn't funny, but it still is, and Dace speeds into the pit lane there. I don't think he cares too much, and that is a shame. Don't know if we'll see a retirement in the pits from Dace, though it would be... If he is going to actually continue here, then it's very unfortunate that he bit of that 5-second time penalty, perhaps out of frustration, but doesn't help you in the long run, and Lanzi inherits P3 after that calamity from Dace. Oh man, you know... At this point, I mean, I was a little harsh in race 3, especially at its conclusion, which I apologised for. But goodness gracious me, does he bring it upon himself? I mean, I was just bigging him up, saying he was going to make an overtake. Man. I feel like I'm almost as exasperated as he is at this point. Well, this should be a pretty easy one for Nojil to drive away into the distance with if we go off of prior trends, though I'm going to hope that isn't the case. Let's be optimistic. And let's hope that won't occur. The Duolingo owl is pursuing me currently on my devices. Talking about pursuing, Lightwork here is pursuing Ada, but he's going to go to the inside to make a move here before the penultimate corner. What a move there by the Williams driver. Ada losing that place, though he's going to be right on the back of Lightwork. Down these next straights, though, Lightwork is going to have the DRS, as well as Ada. Lanzi is too far behind Dusty to look at making a move just yet, though you got to think the pace differential there will start moving towards Lanzi. As those medium tyres on Dusty's car begin to wear at a faster rate than the hard tyres on Lanzi's car, as Lightwork gets a little bit squirrely. Shouldn't demotivate him too much from trying to make a move, because he's still right up behind DC Manaman. He goes down the inside and he thinks twice about it midway through the corner there. Takes a lot of curbing on the inside. As we welcome VTech to the chat. Welcome VTech to Coleslaw Cup, and we have what looks like a spin there. It is a spin. It's Osmanian Devil, and he's got No Jug right behind him, ready to lap him. I'm sorry, Osmanian Devil. I think this is your debut, but I've got to drop it on you. And that's just after the pit entry as well, so he's going to have to drive all the way around before he can then pit and resolve the issue at the front of his car, though I'm not sure he will necessarily want to continue, as his race is pretty much over now that he's been lapped. Lanzi, can he look to make a move on Dusty? He's going to be much closer now. He lifts off there before the braking zone. He isn't interested in making a move just yet. He wants to make the move on this straight. Can he do it? We talk about making a move. Sharir Coleslaw comes into the pit, so that isn't actually a move, so ignore me. And looks like Lanzi just isn't quite close enough to the back of Dusty Lusky as we get to that braking zone. Lightwork find himself in a similar situation there with DC and Manaman. I feel like I've said that a few times so far this race. It happens a lot. I've had a special weapon on my soundboard for the majority of this race that I have not yet unleashed upon the world. I want the opportunity to use it, and Lanzi may grant me this opportunity coming rather soon. He has a lot of ERS stored up as well. He could easily make this move on Lusky in a heartbeat if he just pressed that damn button on the battery. Come on, do it for me, Lanzi. Show me some Orlando magic. As the light work also pits onto the hard tyres, looking to go until the end of the race. Most of the medium runners coming into the pits. Lanzi has just got so much ERS that he just isn't bothering to use. Light work, what's gone on there? It's got to do. Osmanian Devil retakes that position for a second before having to then relinquish it again, and fair play to Osmanian Devil. Gotta shout him out there. He's encountered quite a bit of adversity here as Lusky makes it clear to everybody that he's going to pit. That's the responsible thing to do at this track. Yeah, Osmanian Devil is having, shall we say, not a great race. Already lapped about halfway through, yet he is continuing to drive on. He has that drive, that determination. I rate it. Beamer Blunt picking up a 3-second time penalty and being off centre as well because he's too cool for linearity. Hey, you need that needs to go on a t-shirt. That needs to go straight across a t-shirt. That too cool for linearity. Big white letters on a black tee. Somebody print that and donate that to the stream, and I will wear it on a webcam. Anyhow, I might start my own clothing brand, you know. It'll be called unlinear. No, what is the opposite of linear? Does it have its own contrasting prefix? Alinear, perhaps? Delinear sounds like it would be taking something linear and making it not linear. So I don't think it would be that. Unless I just called it like wiggly or something. Wiggle. Could call it bent and then Cornet would buy up the entire stock. We've got a few different options here. I'll have to go to the drawing board, work out a bit of a strategy. Talking about strategy, A-Dub completes his predicted strategy for this race as he boxes onto the hard tyres. Man, I've been on form with the transitions today. Talking about on form, okay, I'm going to stop it because it's too much. It's too good. I'm bringing a tear to my eye with the beauty of the words that I'm expressing currently. No Jug looks rather comfortable in P3 with the 2 cars ahead of him needing to pit. Lanzi inheriting a race lead through the pit stop windows. A-Dub, what can he do? He's got a 2.8 second gap to Dace ahead of him and a 1.8 second gap to Lightwork behind. Probably one of the worst drivers I could have picked to randomly cut to and ask what was going on during their race, because not too much at the moment. What's going on there with the Alfa Romeos? You'd think it's a fight, but it isn't. It's Impossible Bacon fighting to not get lapped, and I think he's fighting a losing battle because we all know Lightwork has the pace. No Jug has the pace, sorry. Well, shout out Lightwork, he's got the pace as well, I suppose, but not enough pace to threaten No Jug from the back of the field, though it might take Jarno Opmeer to accomplish that feat. We'll keep watching this because we'll find a sound effect to play for the disparaging moment where Bacon does find himself a lap behind. A-Dub drops like a stone. He span at the horseshoe. and I want to go and look at it, but I also don't want to then miss out on playing a sound effect. Blue flags here for Bacon. Now you've got to wonder, will No Jug actually just let Bacon go here? No Jug doesn't have much of a threat at this point in time. I don't think he has much to worry about. A-Dub does though. He has to worry about recuperating all of that lost time after he lost it. Dace on the back of DC Manaman. Do you know what side he's going to? He's going to the outside.
Go inside! To the outside! We got an outside pass!
We do indeed have him going to the outside. Do we have an outside pass? However, DC Manaman may be able to retain this position, getting the power out of the corner. And away he goes. He survives for now, but what he does by surviving is hopefully gives me another opportunity to use that exact same soundboard clip slightly later on in the race. Lanzi into the pits onto medium tyres. He's going to be someone to watch as he's going to be on a quicker strategy, on the contra strategy. Going to be a quicker tyre, sorry. As opposed to the majority of the cars around him that are going to be on the hard tyres. So this could be his opportunity to get Dusty Lusky here. Dace has fallen way back from DC Manaman, so I'm not sure exactly what's happened there. But whatever it is, it doesn't look like it's been great for Dace. If No Jug keeps staying behind Bacon here... Oh, never mind. I'm sorry, that felt rather harsh, but that actually wasn't on purpose. I actually didn't realise, so it's still an oof. I think Bacon in the cockpit is going to be going. But it is what it is. DC Manaman setting a purple middle sector, so DC Manaman is actually just flying here. Maybe that's why Dace has lost time. Maybe it wasn't a mistake from Dace for once. Oof. But just a result of DC Manaman's speed. He does only have 6 seconds to light work ahead of him now. That being said, 6 seconds in 15 laps is a lot to ask for. He is on the quicker tyre compound, however, and he is absolutely flying right now. Though he's kind of low on the ERS. And he has this battle ahead of him as Lanzi makes a big mistake there under braking. He loses the position to DC Manaman, who just gets to say thank you very much. See you later. Coleslaw making the pass on High Tower with the great tyre advantage there of 13 entire laps. 13 whole laps of the Red Bull Ring. I don't know if there's a cool German name we can throw in there. I suppose it is the Große Preis van Österreich. I mean, the Red Bull, it's like they just gave Cake Thomas a racetrack and said name it. Kind of boring, but here's DC Manaman trying to make this race significantly less boring. Unless Lanzi can actually do that, because he has an ERS advantage over DC Manaman, who's going for the move around the outside of Lusky. They touch. Lanzi sneaks on past, and he might make this a double. Oh my god, it's Lanzi.
Go inside! To the outside! We got an outside pass!
Switchbacks, and he gets hit in the rear by DC Manaman. Oh, that's going to go to the steward's office, I believe. Dace picking up the position there from Lanzi. He suddenly finds himself in this cacophony of cars, though he does have 8 seconds worth of penalties, which that might really hinder him. I'm going to assume, well, I don't need to check, I know he wouldn't have served that 5 seconds on the pit stop in which he actually incurred that penalty. Lanzi, though, he still looks interested on the back of Dace. He wants to make a move now to regain the position that he lost from that contact with DC Manaman. DC Manaman as well, also looking to put the pressure on Scavney. We don't know where to look here. Here goes DC Manaman. Coleslaw picking up a 3-second time penalty for track limit warnings. We're going to have 2 passes in the same frame here. using Lanzy's POV to watch the fight ahead as he gets his way past Dace. Let's hop over to DC Manaman and Dusty Lusky as they fight for second position. This is going to be a big ask of Dusty if he's to retain this P2 on a slower compound of tyre. He's got 13 laps left as well to try and survive. Lanzy's going to be approaching them quickly as well, on also on a faster tyre compound on those medium tyres. But this is what happens when someone like Lanzy's on the hards right behind a car in the mediums, and the car with the mediums doesn't use those mediums to their advantage to get away. If you're about level when you're going into the pit cycles, you're always going to be at a disadvantage then if you started on the softer, quicker compound. DC Manaman putting the pressure on him towards turn 1. He uses a lot more track on the left hand side, almost gives Lusky a tap there but not quite. DRS wide open, ERS flowing as he goes to the inside or the outside. Which way will he go? Which way will be left open? He goes to the inside this time. Down the inside on Dusty Lusky. Looks like DC Manaman will also get the DRS as well on this next straight as he fails to make the move through that corner, then gets a really bad exit. Lanzy too far behind though to take advantage of it, and DC Manaman is too low on ERS here to try and recuperate the time that he lost by going through that corner rather poorly. And there he goes! There goes DC Manaman! Off into the barrier as light work passes him. He's got a Haas car right behind him that he's just lapped, unfortunately for the Haas driver. Could be Hightower, could be Beamerblund. Who knows which one it is. And yeah, DC Manaman falling behind even Sharir Coleslaw now, and it doesn't look like he has too much damage actually. I would have thought that he would have hit that front wing into the barrier there and picked up some damage, but anyway, that promotes Lanzy up into the podium places. It makes the job of retaining a podium much easier for Dusty Lusky, though I still think that's going to be something that he has to fight for. Dace still tracking along pretty close to this, just on the bubble of the DRS to the cars ahead. Of course, he doesn't have the tyres here to really make an impact, but P4 in hindsight wouldn't be a bad recovery from Dace, but I don't think he's going to be able to gain any more with those penalties. He's just going to try and stay far enough ahead of Lightwork that Lightwork doesn't in fact jump in with penalties. Let's have a look at those penalties. Dace with 8 seconds and Lightwork with only 3. So Lightwork needs to stay within 5 seconds here of Dace if he wants to pick up a free position, as Dace picks up 3 seconds extra. So never mind, back to the drawing board we go. Dace, you don't make things easy for me, do you? Oh goodness me, it's now 8 seconds and I don't see that happening. Though it looks like Coleslaw will be too far behind to take advantage of that, so P4 seems most likely there for Dace. Anyway, let's get the tyre graphic to disappear, because I realise I've left that on the entire time. Everybody with track limit warnings, penalties pretty much, with the exception of a few drivers, 2 of which are battling on the track right now. It's Lusky and Lanzy. Double L, but only one of them may take the L in this particular battle. However, both of them will be taking an L over the entire course of this race if NLR No Jug can get to the line without NLR No Catastrophes. Lanzy still very close to the back of Lusky though. He wants to make that move and he wants to make it soon. 10 laps remaining of this Grand Prix. So only around, say, give it 12 minutes or so of racing actually remain. Actually, not even that, honestly. It's such a short track here. And Lanzy has the opportunity to make a move here. He doesn't get as good an exit as Lusky. Lusky was right on the limit, it seemed there. Just keeping the rear end of the car under control. Lanzy could look to make a move here, but he doesn't. He looks for the switchback, hoping that Dusty will go late on the brakes from the pressure. It works to an extent, and now Lanzy has the opportunity to get a run on his adversary here. Tucked up in the slipstream, goes to the left, but Lusky has that covered. Tries for the switchback to try and get the drive up towards the horseshoe. Can't quite manage it. This is a great track for fighting though. DC Manaman on the back of Coleslaw as he looks to regain the position that he lost from his own mistake when he made that spin. He looks to the outside, but there's no way past Coleslaw, who does have a penalty as well, so will be finishing behind DC Manaman if they cross the line in this position. Lanzi all over the back of Lusky now as the game decides to not let us watch through that particular corner, though we're back now. He just needs to get the drive out of the corner, and again Lusky just takes the corner more effectively than Lanzi does, but Lanzi has an ERS advantage. He has the slipstream, he has the DRS, but he wants the DRS on the next straight. It looks like he wants to make his move into turn 4. DC Manaman, will he be as patient as to wait for turn 4, or will he go for it now? He's going to go for it now.
To the outside. We got an outside pass.
Great move by DC Manaman, who may or may not pick up the DRS for his troubles. He may not, as Coleslaw gets that, but I don't think he's going to be close enough to really make an attack back at the Aston Martin ahead. Lanzi not quite as close to Lusky as he has been the past few laps. Let's go and have a look at the tyre situation. You see Lanzi now on 9 lap old mediums, so should still have an advantage over 13 lap old hards, but that advantage does go down every single lap. This is what he's got to be conscious of. He then gets the DRS turned on, he gets the ERS on as well, and there is the dinner bell of a red light on the back of that Alpine, showing Lanzi that that Lusky does have less than 10% of his ERS remaining. But Lanzi just failing to take a line through there that is conducive to him staying close. Dace picking up another time penalty, as I wonder whether he's even trying. No Jug setting the fastest lap of the race, because fuck it, why not? Now Lanzi with the DRS and with the slipstream and with the ERS advantage and with the tyre advantage and with just every advantage you could possibly name or come up with, really. Can he finally make the move? He's going to go to the outside of Dusty Lusky under braking. He's going to make sure he retains the DRS though by staying behind until after that line. He then has to tuck back in behind behind Lusky, who then gets a much better exit. And this has happened. I don't know how many times this has happened, because if numbers didn't continue on infinitely, we'd have run out of numbers to use to count how many times this has now happened. Lusky keeping it really close to the inside there. And he's done incredibly well as Dusty here to keep these cars behind. Dace is still here just vibing. No Jug picks up another penalty, but I think that brings him up to 6 seconds, which won't be enough to threaten his victory. Now, can Lanzi finally make that move? 2 tenths behind. He has the DRS, he has the slipstream. We've been through this 1,000,001 times. To the outside he goes, under braking, stays behind, as he always has. Tries to get the drive out of the corner. One of the Hasses has span. But here goes Lanzi, to the outside. Here comes the Dutchman. Under braking, can he swing that car all the way around the outside and make the move here? On Dusty Lusky, no he can't, though he's going to be right up Dusty's gearbox as they get to the final corner. Was that was some understeer there from Lanzi. I'm not sure if that was just because of the effect of the dirty air, or if there is an underlying issue with that Red Bull that perhaps is what is causing him to be losing so much time through the corners. Of course dirty air will have an effect, but it's greatly reduced in these cars as opposed to the previous cars. And we have a spin up ahead. That seems to be Osmanian Devil. as he falls behind Impossible Bacon. And I mean, Bacon himself has been lapped. And I think he's just lapped Tasmanian Devil. Maybe he hasn't, I don't even know. And here comes a switch back from Lanzi. Maybe that wasn't Bacon passing him, maybe that was No Jug, I'm not entirely sure. Talking of No Jug. Oh my days. That has blown this all the way wide open. 5 seconds, 4.3 is the gap. The pressure is now on No Jug. This fight between P2 and P3 may have just become the fight for P1. No Jug has 6 seconds worth of time penalties. He will need to gain another 1.7 seconds on Lusky if he is to retain the victory in this race. He is going to be pushing like a madman now. And he has to. He's got a few laps now to pull out a big gap, and suddenly this got very, very tense indeed. Impossible Bacon making his way past. Does No Jug have damage? No Jug's time is falling off. He's losing time. Does he have some damage perhaps? It didn't look like he would have gotten damage from that incident, but his time, he's losing so much. Perhaps the tyres are still hot, but I don't know, about a second difference from just the tyres being hot seems rather excessive. One of these two drivers here that we're riding on board with now, one of them is going to win this race. 3.9 seconds is the gap between P2 and P1 as we prepare to begin lap 34. The gap is now beginning to increase once more. I never thought the victory of this race would be in doubt after Dace made that mistake early on, but this has blown the entire thing wide open. We don't know what's going to happen here. But that's more time that No Jug has gained. Over like half a second this lap, but he has the DRS from his teammate Impossible Bacon. The lapped car. And here's the fight between Lusky and Lanzi. Lusky makes his way past after Lanzi took the lead briefly, but this squabbling may ultimately cost them the position of the car ahead, which is NLR No Jug. No Jug profited massively there from getting that DRS. We've got a spin, we've got a retirement actually. I think that might be a retirement on track from Tasmanian Devil. That will have to be referred to the stewards. No Jug begins lap 35, the penultimate lap of this race, and he has to pull 6 tenths of a second, now 5 tenths of a second, out of somewhere. This is going to be close. I think he's going to do it. I think he's actually going to manage to win this race. After he tempted us to believe that his 100% win record from the races that he has partook in, he baited us into thinking that perhaps that was going to change, but maybe not. Depends. Can Lanzi and Lusky work together? It doesn't look like it from the time from what we've seen so far, and I don't think you would work together in this scenario really, unless you were close teammates perhaps, because ultimately if you gain a position from working together you may still lose that position to the other driver. This is still a competition, and the gap is going to be 6 seconds as we get to the final lap of this race. It is so close. Lusky has to push. He has to give it absolutely everything, as does No Jug. And that's a nice turn one from Lusky. He's going to have Lanzi right behind him. If they squabble even the slightest bit, the possibility of one of them winning this race will be over. Lusky has to get his head down here and focus and just push. He needs to pull everything out here, pull out all the stops, every single last bit of skill that he needs to become on display here, as the gap is now 6 seconds. Lanzi goes down to the inside, they do touch, and that might cost them, as now Lusky has to find 3/10 from somewhere. We watch on board with No Jug. Lanzi still pretty close in behind Lusky as well, though I don't think it will be close enough. This race is really going to be decided by 7/10 of a second, it would seem, as No Jug crosses the line, doesn't make any more mistakes, uses the ERS all the way up to the line, and that is going to win him the Grand Prix here. Lusky is not going to be able to find 9/10 in a corner, but he manages to cross the line in P2. Fantastic drive from Lusky. Lanzi picks up the final podium position with light work just behind him, unless that changes at some point due to stewardship reasons. We did see that contact between DC Mano and the man who's just come across the line in 5th place, and Lanzi as well, and that resulted in Lanzi getting spun around. And if that hadn't happened, Lanzi would have won this race. That is something to remember. Dace TG crosses the line in a very disappointing P8 as he slams himself into the wall. DNFs. He clearly was not very happy. His stricken car should cross the line, which should result in him being classified in P8. I'm going to assume that he won't lose that position when Hightower finally decides to cross the line, though he's enjoying keeping us waiting. And across the line he goes, and that does actually put him ahead of Dace, so yeah, silly mistake, well, not even a mistake, silly thing to do there from Dace, lost himself a position and some World Championship points rather foolishly. And the Milwaukee Bucks have absolutely decimated the Miami Heat, ladies and gentlemen, if anyone's interested. It's 112 to 77 currently. Unbelievable, Jeff. We're now going to switch Discord channels over to the interview room. And we hope Discord doesn't crash. So, who do we need to get in here? We need to get in Lanzi. We need to get in Lusky. And we need to bring in the one and only NLR No Jug. Now, hopefully, those fine gentlemen will hop into the interview room. Lanzi, Dusty, and No Jug all accepting that request. And yeah, we saw the race come down to about 0.8 of a second there in the end from what looked to be absolute domination from the man on your screens right now, NLR No Jug. Not happy with that from No Jug, deciding to give us hope, to then snatch it away. And to snatch it away from Lusky, bro, come on. As No Jug joins us, and we are waiting on Lanzi and Dusty. And there is Dusty, so let's just start with No Jug now and hope that by the time we make it through the next two drivers that Lanzi will have joined us. You there, No Jug? Awesome,
What's
awesome,
up?
awesome. Alright, and Lanzy's here as well. Cool, so we've got everyone. You know, I was saying this on stream, no joke. You had to give us hope and then snatch it away on the final lap. You made it look like you weren't gonna win, to then go and
So-
freaking win.
Commentator's curse. That's what we're blaming on.
I mean, I was like, and No Jug is running away with this. And talking to No Jug, he's in the wall. You know, you'd span, I think it was, but yeah, talk me through that race, because it seemed like you were going to have a race on your hands with Dace at the start there until he did Dace things.
Yeah, just got back from a 3-week break from the game, so was settling back in to driving again. And Dace was definitely putting me through my paces at the start of the race, 100%. Had me pushing my battery, had me making mistakes. Honestly, he was really quick today. Just unfortunate. I think he caught a curb or something in the last corner that sent them around. But yeah, then had a little bit of room to relax, and no excuses. I just dropped the car at the end there, so had a little bit of a spin, but. Then Dusty gave me an absolute heart attack, but I was able to take the win in the end, thankfully. Thanks to a little bit of help from my teammate with some DRS.
Yeah, I mean, you must be glad to have brought home that P1, because there were a few mistakes out there. I noticed more so than usual. I think your final qualifying lap, you made a mistake, I think, didn't you? And then there was that spin in the race as well. A couple penalties too. Do you just attribute most of that to just being fresh back on the game after a break?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's just the consistency is something that I've always struggled with, and to keep myself consistent, I have to be playing a lot. So that's what I just chalk it up to.
Yeah, I mean, unbelievable that you can go and take a 3-week break from the game, come back, do one race, and be back in P1 in the standings. But yeah, that's 100% win rate, I think, now.
Yeah. Hopefully we can keep it going.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, good luck for the rest of the season. We'll move on to Dusty, who finished P2, if he's there.
I'm here.
Hello.
Hello.
First of all, congratulations. Great drive.
Thank you.
Pretty much no mistakes again, I think, as well there. Seems to be a common
Consistency
trend.
is key, Will.
It is indeed. I mean, I would wait until the end in the interests of continuity, but I can't. What the hell was going through your mind with 4 laps to go?
So with like 6 laps to go, my focus was keeping Lanzy behind me because he was a lot quicker, and I was just a little bit quicker on the straightaways. And that was just enough to keep me ahead of him while No Jug got away. And then, well, we're all in the party chat together, so I just hear No Jug yelling. I see yellow flags, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe there's a chance. And then I got within, I think, 4.5 seconds of him. And then on the last lap, I think I was about 2 or 3 tenths down, like away from winning sort of thing. And our good pal Lanzy here sends a half a send up the inside. And it absolutely fucking sewered me out of close to a second, so I lost it all in that one turn. So, but you know what? It is what it is. I don't blame him for trying it, because I'm sure he was getting frustrated sitting behind me for 16, 17 laps or whatever it was. But yeah, it was so close. I could taste it, and then Landy just spat in my face and tried to drive down the inside of me.
Yeah. Oh, where did you just out of interest, where did you qualify?
6th.
6th. So yeah, again, it's that consistency being key, isn't it?
Yeah, I had a really good start. I jumped right up into P3 right off the start. DC Manaman, I think, was starting hard, so he had a tough start, so I was able to get him. And then I think I forced Lanzy just a little bit wide, just kind of not a fun line for him to take. I think he may have gotten on the curb a little bit, and then that just allowed me to get ahead of him going down that straight stretch. So, yeah.
I mean, you two were pretty much together the entire race, pretty much. I think, apart from like the pit stop phases that put you a little bit off sync. But yeah, I mean, congratulations. If I had to give a driver of the day, I think you'd get it for not making any mistakes, almost winning as well.
Thanks, man.
But yeah, I mean, that's is that P2 in the standings now for you, I think.
Yeah, well, like I had said before, I'm going for that if No Jug didn't exist, Coleslaw Cup victory, right? So.
Yeah, I think that deserves a trophy on its own.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the guy's just on another level. I mean, he should be starting from the back every race. He'd still win. So.
Potential rule proposition. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's hop over to Lanzi then, I guess. The man himself, the inside sender, the Dutch destroyer, the Orlando magician, the I could keep doing this all day. The frikandel fella. Firstly, I've got to ask, what is your? You had an incident, I think, with DC Manaman, if I remember correctly, the Aston Martin. Just talk me through what you think happened there, because that spun you around, and I think.
Yeah. So
not to rub it in, but that probably cost you what was a win here today with that mistake from Nojo.
Well, we established that in the party as well, so thanks for rubbing it extra, but I think that was my best opportunity to get past, because I had a full battery at that point. I set up the switchback for Dusty, but I didn't account for DMC to be there already, so it was a bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. Happy to get back to P3 at least. And yeah, at the end, Dusty defended very good, placed his car very wide every time, so I had to go to the outside, and yeah, didn't work.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly tried. You were pretty much right there with Dusty the entire time. This must give you hope for the rest of the season, though. The pace was good today, and like I mentioned, not at all intending to rub it in, but there was the potential for even greater. So, does that fill you with hope for the rest of the season to perhaps get a win or two?
Yeah, we'll see. We still depend on Nojak having an off day, so it was definitely fun. So on the alternate strategy, the first 2 laps were brutal because I had no battery left on lap 3, so I had to stay in the DRS. I got a bit lucky that Dusty made a mistake I think on the first DRS straight, so I could stay with him because I was dropped most likely, but yeah.
Well, that's how racing goes. Sometimes you get the luck, sometimes you don't. But yeah, congratulations on the podium. Great drive as well.
Thank you.
And I think that will conclude our broadcast for today. So yeah, good night, guys. Thanks for showing up. And we'll actually go and end the stream off here, yeah, until next time, where we get to witness more Orlando magic out on the track. It's a good night from me.